I read an interesting novel by famous Russian novelist Leo Tolstoy called The Death of Ivan Ilyich. And in that book, in the last couple of chapters, Ivan, the main character, is reflecting on his life. And he comes up with this interesting question. What if my whole life had been wrong? Well, I have to put it to you. What if your whole golf game had been wrong? What if your grip had been wrong? What if your stance and posture had been wrong? What if your ball position had been wrong? What if my first move in my golf swing had been all right? Then you can't play. It's time to change. I'm going to elaborate further on what I did in my last video with respect to the hands, the grip and the club. It's very, very important that you understand this, because your game will go to a new level if you do understand this and start putting into practice. One of the things you must realize with your hands, we have 3 sections in the fingers. These 3 sections are called phalanx, and I'm going to mark these for you. I'm a right-handed golfer, so it's the second phalanx that I'm looking at in the left hand. The club will fall across part of the palm and will be collected here under the heel pad. You can see I've got a great big callus there, okay? In your right hand, the grip is gripped across the last phalanx of these 3 fingers. Your lifeline sits over the thumb of your left hand. Now, how you train these hands and fingers is quite easy. If you get a dowel, you'll turn, not a square, but you'll turn this on an angle. It looks like a cube. Once you get your left hand, you can see I've got that in the first phalanx, and the pad sits on top of the club, right here like that, okay? Then I get my right hand, and you notice my thumb and forefinger is very close together, and I'll show you how to do this. Grip it in those 3 fingers, curl the fingers, and then place the actual heel pad of the right hand and right thumb over the left. Now I've got a good solid grip. I do not want to have this thumb down the right hand side of the shaft or the center of the shaft, and I'll show you why. I'll pull this sleeve up here, and what you can see is when I do that, you see the muscles in my forearm? They are all tightening. But when I've got this correctly in the club, these 2 fingers specifically engage the inside muscles of my forearm. These are your throwing muscles. These are the ones you need to strike the golf ball. As you can see, I have no left thumb visible. This is a good compact grip, and I've got a lot of wrist flexibility available to me. That is the most important thing. I'm not going to death grip. You can see I'm not even pressuring this. I feel like I'm pushing with this knuckle in the delivery. Once you get this, it's very, very simple. It's just practice. I pose this question to a lot of my students on many occasions. What's the definition of consistency? Well, to me, it's doing the same thing over and over and over again without variation. That's what we need to do. I'm nothing more than a trained monkey. I can hit a golf ball where I'm looking. That's my goal for you out there in the audience. Now we're going to extrapolate what I did with this dowel, and we're going to learn in very slow motion what to do with a golf club, so it's easier for you out there in the audience. So what I'm going to do is, you can see my hands, the 3 phalanx. I'm going to place this at a 45-degree angle, right in the first phalanx, underneath the pad. Grip from underneath. You'll notice I haven't put my thumb or my index finger on. Now I'm going to place them. Now if you notice, there is no gaps here. How you learn to do that is teach yourself to put a T in here. Feel it. There's no air. That's the most important thing. When you learn to do this, I do this quite often. I'll teach myself with my right hand. It feels like there's no gaps here. An interesting thing, Steve Wilkinson, who was another former Australian great player and PGA Tour player, was told, would you change anything in your life, your golf life? And he said, yes. He said, I'd have this thumb and this index finger stitched together. I think that says a lot about what I'm talking about. So we're going to place, again, the 3 fingers, curl the fingers, the lifeline sits on the palm, and the thumb sits on the left hand side of the shaft. It'll be the opposite for a left-hander. You'll notice there's a little gap between the index finger and the middle finger, and I feel that pressure there. I feel like now I'm pushing with that knuckle. That's what it feels like. The more you watch this, if you grip these 2 fingers here, again, I'll pull my sleeve up, and this is what you'll see. The more I get the fingers on top and pressure in the fingers, the muscles in my forearm contract. They're the ones that force my elbow away and make my forearms and wrists rotate, and I have no control of the club face. I've got to feel these muscles in here, on the insides of my arms. They're the ones, I don't have to grip it very hard, I've just got to feel some pressure there, okay? That's the most important thing. Now I can really feel like I'm throwing something. It's like skipping a rock across a pond. I can create tremendous speed via the use of my hands correctly on the club. I'm trying to help you become the best possible golfer you can be. You've got to practice. You have to take time to do this. It is really worthwhile. I can't stress that enough. You can play the level of golf you're currently playing, or you can play the level of golf you want to play. It's your decision. You've got to practice, ladies and gentlemen. You've got to practice. You need to make time for this little stuff that I'm talking about. It's so important. Every single young student I've ever taught knows me. They know me back and forward. I've always said this: if you ain't got a setup, you ain't got a swing. Now that's part of the grip. It's your posture and stance. It's your ball position. It's the first move in the swing. They're the keys. Get them right and you'll become pretty good. I promise you. If you like any of this content that I'm presenting to you in any way, please like, share and subscribe. And if you've got any comments on any material, any problems, place your comments in the comment section below and I'll be happy to get back to you. We'll see you next time.